is Stephanie, and I'm recording out of the New Tampa Y. Today we're talking a little bit about how to recover from a run or from a cycling, maybe, possibly swimming, maybe all three of them. Often our thighs, our hips, our feet, our ankles, our calves, all of those are tight, and even the lower back as a result of constantly pulling, and maybe weak abdominals make the back even tighter. So, and often the immobility of these joints can also make our runs and our swims and our cycling difficult. So if you haven't recovered properly yet, and you're going on to your next ride, chances are your ride won't be so nice. So you go for your next run, and all of a sudden everything feels really stiff and your feet are not very light. So we are focusing a little bit on recovering that for you today. And just imagine, the older we get, the more recovery time we need. So if you are younger and you don't take the time for the recovery, it may not be as noticeable as when you're a little bit older and you're not taking the time for recovery, but your body still needs it the same. So it doesn't really matter what your age is, or it doesn't really matter how hard you work, you still need that recovery time. And if you don't take it, it's gonna show eventually somewhere. So most of the time we feel this by an overuse injury. We may feel this through aches and pains that we have while running. They may not always stay, but eventually it's gonna get a little bit worse if you do not take care of it. Also, yoga restores the natural balance in the body. So if you are, for example, most of us are right-handed, so right hand, right foot dominant, so that already creates an imbalance. And yoga helps us to open up those imbalances, meaning that if my right arm or my right foot was being used more than it should, then in the recovery time we can feel that, and then hopefully in our training, in the strength training we do as a result, train that out a little bit and hopefully make the other stuff stronger and have it participate more in the longer events or in the more intense events. Keep all those things in mind, and I apologize for talking so much right at the beginning of the yoga session, but if this is you, and if it isn't you, and this is something you had never heard before, just keep an eye on your own recovery time. How much time are you spending in yoga? It doesn't have to be yoga, it could be any type of stretching, it could be any type of recovery work, it could be Tai Chi if you wish, it could be a Pilates class. Something that is opposite of what you are normally doing when you are training your body for that event, or just love to run or love to ride. A lot of times we see the longer runs on Saturday or Sunday, and then our yoga classes are usually fuller because of the people that are recovering from these long races or long training days. So to keep that in mind for yourself, and hopefully you enjoy this a little bit. And again, we're looking for recovery, but this is still going to be fairly hard because we are still also looking for that strength training to balance out the left and the right, making sure that both legs carry the same amount of weight. Please leave me comments if this was helpful at all or not, or what else you would like to see. Maybe we need recovery from something else, such as maybe you are a kickboxer, or maybe you are more into weightlifting, things like that. So just let me know if you're interested in that, and then I'll accommodate that. So focus on yourself for the next 40-ish minutes or so. Think about any weaknesses that you have already stated. Maybe your hip is a little cranky at you, maybe your knees are cranky, maybe it's your shoulders and your neck. When we're riding, a lot of times we pull the shoulders up excessively, which is something you need to work on your form a little bit. But while you are working on your form, you still need to help your body recover from that. So in the yoga class, we're always working on shoulders down, elongating the spine up as much as possible, taking the tailbone towards the floor, taking the base of the skull towards the ceiling, looking to elongate the spine as much as possible, and activating our core stability muscles. Circle around the hip, inhale, exhale the opposite direction, and of course we're going to make that a little bigger. You might want to pull your feet in a little closer, circle forward a little bit more, and the opposite direction. If you watch my yoga videos, we start here a lot just because our hip is so tense often, even from just sitting. And of course, whatever we're doing today, if you spend a significant amount of time seated, whether that's in your car or in an office, all these activities will still work wonders for you as well. Switch your feet over. And I can tell a clear difference between switching the legs. It wasn't bothering me at all on that side, but here I feel a little bit of tension in this leg, in this hip. It's also early in the morning, so a lot of times you feel that a lot more. Here you're going to turn to your side. So today we're not working so much on this yoga flow, yoga vinyasa type. We'll go in more from pose to pose to accentuate the areas that we need work on, such as the calf muscle, the hamstring, your lower back. And again, this is good for anyone. Here, I'm going to place my hands a little bit under my calf because it's not important so much that my legs are straight. But I am going to try to hinge from my hip, placing my belly onto my thighs. So I'm just going to hinge a little, tucking the chin under, and hinging a little, tucking the chin under, as if I'm trying to push my heel away from my tailbone, and at the same time, using my head to move away from my tailbone. So tailbone's going into the floor here. My heel is pushing away from my hip in that direction, and my head is moving over, almost as if I'm trying to place the crown of my head past my feet. And all this, I'm trying to keep my legs active, I'm trying to keep my belly active, drawing my belly towards my thighs. Tucking the chin under, inhale, exhale, and draw a little deeper. Exhaling through the nose, inhale, exhaling through the nose, inhale. As I'm exhaling, I'm going to come into staff pose with my hands on my thighs, or you may also have your hands by your side. Again, reaching with the tailbone towards the floor, your heel away from the hip, tucking the chin under, but lifting the breastbone towards the ceiling, and that usually drops the shoulders down. Inhale, exhale, lengthen. Inhale, arms overhead, lengthen. Exhale, bring the right hand behind you and the left hand to the outside of your thigh, and turn. Exhale, inhale, elongate the spine. Exhale, turn a little further if you can. Arms overhead. Exhale, other side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, look a little beyond the shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, just a little bit more. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. That should feel wonderful to the lower back. And again, we're looking to stretch the bottom of the foot. We're looking to stretch the calf muscle. We're looking to stretch the hamstring, and through that, the lower back. The more active my belly is, the more you will feel that connection there. So if I'm just yanking on my foot without actively engaging the belly, chances are you still get a good stretch, but we are looking to use the belly muscles and the thigh muscles to stretch the back of the body. So we're using the front of the body actively to pull along the back of the body. The crown of the head is reaching past the toes. Here I'm just more interested right now in opening up my feet. And here you can actively stretch your feet. You can bring them in after a long run or after riding. Your feet might be achy. Mine tend to ache right on the top here, especially depending on what shoe I'm wearing. And then when I'm stretching out, I like to stretch them in both directions, in and out. As you're turning them in, you might feel a stretch to the outside of your calves and feet. This is also really nice for IT band release. So you turn your feet towards the inside, press them out a little bit, and that a lot of times gives a nice release to the IT band. And then you can turn the other way, and here you feel the inside of the leg, very gently, don't yank on anything, you just see what your foot is willing to give, and press them down, or pull them up, whatever it is that you need. And then bend, and extend, and then extend the foot long enough that your heel is reaching off the floor, activating the quadricep to stretch the calf and to stretch the bottom of your foot. And then point. Here you're going to be careful with touching at that time because there might be a lot of tension in the front of the leg and it doesn't feel very good. The thin skin over here may feel hot or achy when you touch after that. So point and then flex again and point, and at the same time try to release the shoulders downward and then very gently bring yourself to the floor. Tuck the chin under, roll down, vertebrae by vertebrae here. We're going to just massage that lower back a little bit by bringing it back. Tuck the chin towards the knee. Try to drive the knee as close to the chest as possible without lifting the hip off the floor. Inhale. As you exhale, bring the left leg out towards the floor without placing it down, and just draw that knee underneath your shoulder. Inhale. Exhale. Switch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. As you exhale, draw a little deeper, so this leg is pushing away a little further through the heel, activating that glute and that thigh on the top, and then switch sides. Inhale. Exhale. Flex and point, just making sure that there's no tension in your feet. Draw both knees into the chest. And again, maybe you want to grab your toes and your feet, stretch on them, and then come into happy baby. Hip is trying to stay on the floor. And here you come side to side. Just sway. Inhale. As you exhale, straighten one leg out. Try to keep that hip down on the floor. Inhale. As you exhale, stretch out the other leg. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Both legs straight. And then here you can bring it side to side a little bit. And draw the knees into the elbows, happy baby. Massage that spine by shifting your body weight left and right. And bring your legs up the wall. Flex and point, and flex and point, and circle. Place the left foot down and bring the right leg across. Keep the hips stable. Press with the right hand into the right knee, but draw the hip bone towards you. So pubic bone to belly button. Don't let the hip escape to the side. You're going to try to keep that hip nice and solid. So when you're pressing down with the leg, with the pubic bone coming to your belly button, you're opening that hip flexor on that side. You may even come up a little higher. What we're looking for is the elongation of the knee away from your hip, and the hip stays solid. Inhale. As you exhale, slide that leg all the way down and then just sway side to side. It should feel wonderful. Nice loosening up around the tailbone, maybe even in your groin area or in your hip flexor. Inhale. As you exhale, drop the legs to the left. Just open up that lower back, maybe look over to your right shoulder. Here we don't want to spend too much time in these stretches because we need to get deeper into the hip. Inhale. As you exhale, come to the other side. Look over to your left shoulder. Deep stretch to that hip, outside of the hip, the IT band here. And opening up the lower back. Reaching with the left hip away from the left rib cage. Opening up the chest. Both shoulders remain on the floor. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your knees back up. Up the wall with the legs. Place the right foot down and bring the left foot across. Maybe intensify that stretch just a little, but don't allow the hip to follow. Keep that hip square, and then press with the left hand into the left knee, the pubic bone to the belly button, as the hip tucks towards you, and the leg is lengthening away from you, opening up that hip flexor. Inhale. My hip wants to follow, so I have to be careful. And then slide that leg in and let both legs together fall to the right. Again, we're looking for the deep stretch of the glutes and maybe the IT band if that is what's bugging you there. Inhale. As you exhale, come back up. Inhale. Exhale, other side. Should feel wonderful. Deep stretch to the top of that hip and maybe towards the tailbone here, opening up that lower back. The further this rib cage is coming away from the hip, the more of a stretch you get into the glute area, into the lower back. Opening up that shoulder, getting a stretch to the inside of your chest and under the arm possibly. Inhale. As you exhale, come back up and draw your knees to the chest. Inhale. As you exhale, come back up. Cross-legged pose. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale and fold forward. Deep stretch to the glute area. If you need a little bit of help, this is where the blocks come in handy. Either you just leave this here, you can have, just lean your head onto your hands or onto the block. The idea here is to use your belly actively to draw your belly into your thighs so that your spine has a chance to lengthen and that your knees have a chance to fall away rather than coming towards you. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale nice and strong. You may bring your arms overhead. Of course, if you don't need those blocks, you can lean all the way forward. My body is not ready for that. Inhale. And as you exhale, reach a little further. Inhale. As you exhale, come up. Inhale. Switch legs. Exhale. Fold forward again. I want to use my blocks again. Actively reaching with my belly towards my thighs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Walk yourself up into seated position. And come onto all fours. Have a seat back into extended child's pose. Again, we're looking for that drawing of the belly towards the thighs. Active
active legs, as if there was a person sitting on your back. Inhale. As you exhale, come onto all fours. Cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Curl your toes under and come into downward facing dog. Inhale. Place both feet on the floor. The heel is pressing to the floor, using the quadricep, the front of your thigh, to press the knee through. Your arms have to be strong and elongated enough to counter that movement. So your chest is actively reaching towards your thighs. Your thighs are actively pressing the heel into the floor. It is not important that your heel is on the floor. It is not important that your legs are straight. It is important that your spine is aligned. As you're focusing one by one, pressing the legs into the floor, and then together pressing the legs into the floor as the tailbone is reaching towards the ceiling. Inhale. As you exhale, let the right leg float up to the ceiling. And just practice standing here. The heel is reaching up towards the ceiling, the hips stay square. Your arms are still pressing into the floor. Three-legged downward dog. Inhale. As you exhale, float that leg back down. Inhale. Walk feet in place. Exhale. Let the left leg float up towards the ceiling, using the back muscles and your glute muscles to lift that leg towards the ceiling. Keep your hips square. So the hip has a tendency to want to open here. That's a little easier, but we're looking for a square hip. Most of the strength is on the standing leg. Inhale. As you exhale, let that leg float back down. Walk your legs in place. Inhale, and as you exhale, walk or jump yourself forward. Inhale, monkey. Exhale, fold forward a little deeper. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Opening up the lower back. Fold forward. Place your hands on the floor in front of you, or bend at the knee, that's okay too. Place the right leg behind you. Inhale. Arms overhead. Crescent pose. Inhale. As you exhale, lengthen further out. Focus here on that hip staying square. The heel reaching for the ceiling, an active quadricep. Watch the front of the leg. Your knee is in alignment with your ankle. Arms overhead, reaching. Your tailbone is actively reaching towards the floor so that we're not arching the back by accident. Inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. Place the right leg back next to the left. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, fold forward, swan dive. Place your hands in front of your feet, or your fingertips, or your blocks. Place the left leg back. Strong stance with your feet, arms overhead, crescent pose. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, keep your hips square. As your left leg is pushing back into the floor, the left hip is actually reaching forward. As your right leg is pushing into the floor, your right hip is actually moving to the back. Arms up. Reach and reach and reach. Both legs very active. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the feet up together, fold forward deeper. Inhale, arms overhead. Reverse swan dive, bending backwards a little bit. Hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale. Exhale, step the right foot back. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, place the right hand in the inside of your left foot. Side angle. Reverse
reverse side angle. Lengthen as much as you can. Keep the weight in the legs. Inhale. Exhale, reach overhead. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward and bring the right leg in. Fold it deeper. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step the left foot back. Exhale, arms overhead, crescent pose. Inhale. Exhale, place the left hand to the inside of your right foot, reverse side angle, other side. Inhale. As you exhale, reach overhead. Both legs are strong in the floor. Inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, draw the left leg in. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, walk or jump back. Exhale. Come down to plank in chaturanga. Exhale, upward facing dog. Curl your toes under. Come back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet in place. Inhale. As you exhale, come to plank. Lower yourself to chaturanga and come up to upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale. As you exhale, place your right foot in between the hands and slide down. Lift up at the chest. Try to keep the hips square. If you're more flexible than me, the point is to try to bring your bottom down onto the floor. So for that, you have to be flexible enough for this leg to get out of the way. That means the leg has to be able to turn enough that you can bring your bottom down to the floor, but the hind leg has to stay in this position. Meaning, if I'm now sitting down because I cannot do that, my hind leg will flip over. So what I have to do in order to stay in that position and get more flexible inside my hip, I have to try and get this underneath my bottom. I'm using my block for that, so that I don't overstretch by accident. I'm keeping my hind leg active. So here I should be able to have that leg flat on the floor and apply some pressure if I want to. Because what I'm looking for is to be able to eventually bring that knee, the heel to my bottom. So here I want to have the strength to bring my heel to my bottom without my body lifting off as a result. So here I'm looking up, flex point, and maybe I can reach for that foot, flex point, and this way I get a true stretch for my glute here. My leg gets to turn so that I can open my groin area, and I get to strengthen my hamstring by fighting the tension I have in front of the thigh on the other side. I know this is a difficult concept, but this is what we fight with when we are runners or cyclists or swimmers, or any other sport for that matter, but sitting for long periods of time. I know I seem to be repeating myself all the time, but I have learned that over time, with these repetitions, eventually my students learn what I'm talking about because they're experiencing it. Sometimes you have to wait till you experience it until you can actually really go into it. But you have to be exposed and you have to have heard it before in order to look for these things. Here, my leg is not strong enough to stay there on its own. And as I'm turning my hand inside, I can feel the stretch to the outside of my left chest. So I can draw deeper if I want to. This is where strap is really helpful, because we can just take a strap around the foot. And intensify that stretch a little, and also practice for that arm to eventually grab that foot overhand. Deep stretch to both the left quadricep and the right glute here. Lifting up, up, up. Through the chest comes towards the ceiling. And here I can even switch sides. Or open this way and open my upper back for this movement. And come to the other side if I wish. Making a small little turn for a deep twist and deep stretch to the lower back. And then release. And here I'm going to try to lean forward. Again, here I might be using my second block because I'm not flexible enough to have my butt cheek on the floor and then fold over this thigh. I'm going to use my belly as much as I can actively to come down over that thigh, but I feel a deep stretch in my glutes. I'm not sure how far I can get. I'm going to try to place my chest onto my thigh. And try to relax my head in front of me. My bottom is still hard on the block. My other block is here, but I don't seem to need it. But if I do, I might want to put this under my chest because my goal here is to press the chest down towards the floor. My chest is in contact with my thigh here, so I'm okay. But my body is actively pulling my upper body towards my thigh. My hind leg is actively extending. Inhale, lengthening as far as I can. Exhale. Inhale and slowly come out of this. I'm going to move my block away. Curl my toe under in the back. I'm going to leave that strap there because I might need it again. Inhale, opening up the chest. Exhale. Come back into downward facing dog. Strap stays handy. Walk your feet in place. Nice and strong. Heel is pushed down. If you want a little help, you can press a little bit of that leg into the calf muscle. What we're looking for is a flexibility improvement on my Achilles. Because if my Achilles is flexible, the bottom of my foot is more flexible. Walking the other foot in place. Watch for that little arch that you created on the bottom of the foot. And you can apply a little pressure to the back to assure that that leg is eventually finding its home. The heel is finding its home on the floor eventually. Pressing through with the thigh, with the strength of the thigh. Inhale. As you exhale, place the left leg in between your hands. Slide down. My goal, again, is to keep my hip at a neutral. So eventually, this foot will be lying onto my hip here. Right now, I don't have the range. I can't even try to reach. So little by little, this will get better. I place one of the blocks under my bottom here because I don't have the flexibility to reach for the floor, but I still want to have that turn in my hips that eventually I can lay down with my hip onto my foot, or place the foot up higher and still place my hip down on the floor. Inhale and lengthen through the spine. The tailbone is reaching for the floor so that I don't arch my back as I'm bringing my chest up. Here again, I'm looking for that bend in my knee without the hip leaving the floor. So I'm actively drawing with this leg my body downward so that the hip is seated on the floor or on the block, and my heel is actively reaching towards my buttocks. It needs a little help because I'm not flexible enough, not strong enough yet in my hamstring and not flexible enough in my quads for that to happen. So here again, I'm opening my chest, grabbing the inside of my foot. I should be able to flex and point and have enough leeway here for that to happen. Eventually I can pull a little bit on the top, and this is where again that strap comes in. You can see that I have an easier time with this side than I do with the other. And here again, I'm looking for, eventually, you can grab your foot from this end. If you're flexible enough to do that, go ahead and do that. That is not me yet. Here we get a deep stretch to the tricep as well. You may reach up with both. Again, we're looking for that turn and we're looking for that hip to reach towards the floor. The bottom or the butt cheek is on the floor or on your block. Deep, deep stretch to the front of the thigh. And the more active you can be with your hamstring, the more of a stretch your quads get. And here I'm going to turn around a little bit. Looking over my shoulder, small little twist. That feels amazing across the lower back. Don't force anything. And I may gently release that. And here we're looking again towards squaring off that hip, placing the hip down as close to the floor as possible, and then fold forward. Drawing actively with your belly and your chest onto the thigh. Try to relax into this pose as you lengthen in your body. And your chest is coming towards the floor more and more. Your hip is drawing down towards the floor more and more. Inhale as you exhale, lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Inhale, and as you exhale, walk yourself back up. Removing any blocks. Lift the chest. Lengthen as much as you can. Curl that toe under and come to downward facing dog. Here we're getting ready to use this strap to stretch the ankle and the feet out a little bit. Walk your feet in place. You may shift side to side a little bit, lengthening. If you want, you can make that a little bigger by letting the right leg float up. Let the right leg fall out. And just feel that deep, deep stretch to the right side. That should feel wonderful. And then place that leg back down. Let's do the other side. One at a time. Left leg floats up. Open up at the hip. And that deep, deep twist of the lower body. Looking underneath your left arm. Inhale. Exhale. And then place that leg back down. Walk your feet in place. And then have a seat. In extended child's pose, keep your toes curled under. Should feel wonderful. Inhale. As you exhale, release your toes and come into extended child's pose. Inhale. As you exhale, draw your right hand underneath your left. Look under the left, or thread the needle. Deep stretch to the shoulder. There's no weight on your head. If anything, you can come out just a little bit, place more weight on the shoulder for a deeper rotation. Inhale. As you exhale, release the arm overhead, and bring your left arm underneath the right. And again, you can come up forward enough so that your body weight is on your shoulder. There should be no pressure, no weight on your head. Inhale. As you exhale, gently release, arms overhead. Here you can attempt puppy pose, where we're looking for the hip to be right above the ankles and right above the knees. And your goal is to stretch the chest all the way down until your chest meets the floor. This opens up the heart center,
opens up the thoracic spine. My body is not quite ready for meeting the floor, but this is where the blocks come in. You can either reach for the block here, lift the head out through the back. Don't pull your back into the neck. We're looking for imagining the back of the skull, the back of the head towards the ceiling. So as you're lifting the head backwards, your chest sinks down naturally. Inhale. Exhale. Lengthen those arms away from you. Feel that deep stretch and that alignment coming through the mid-back. Inhale. As you exhale, very gently come onto your elbows and onto all fours. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. That should feel wonderful after puppy. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. You're going to have a seat on your legs in hero. Have your strap nearby. We're going to take the right leg. And here's probably not a bad idea to close your strap. It's possible to do it without closing your strap, but it's a little easier this way. So I close my strap. I'm going to make that tighter. I'm going to place my strap onto my ankle here. I'm going to take my bottom foot and take that strap around the bottom of that foot. I'm going to tighten my strap. I'm going to show this again on the other side. I'm going to tighten my strap here. And then one leg is pushing back and the other one is pushing forward. So as my hind leg is pushing with the heel down, my front leg is pushing forward. You may even come into a small little stance here. I'm looking to free up the back of my foot or the bottom of my foot here. So I'm pressing into the bottom of my foot, reaching forward. So here you can have your knees down and press this way, or you can have more pressure when your legs are up. Now we're going to switch this a little bit to the bottom of the foot, right there. And then press forward. This time, I'm going to come forward until my knee's on the floor. And again, if your knees are bothering you, you can always use a block. And here, I'm going to place my hind leg straight. Applying a little pressure to both the bottom of my left foot and opening up the top of my right foot, meaning the toes are free to move, but my strap is right above my toes so that I can curl around that strap. And here all I have to do is switch sides. So I'm drawing one leg forward and the other one back. With small little adjustments, and again you might have to draw that strap up a little bit, make it tighter. And here I'm placing my foot so that my strap is now on my right, bottom of my right and top of my left. Here I like to place a little bit more pressure by pressing back, and I'm looking for eventually placing that heel on the floor. So small pressure, you do what you feel comfortable with, and you can bring it up and down, making the left leg a little bit more mobile, improving mobility in my left ankle. And then I'm going to switch that over. So here my foot, my strap is right above my toes so that I can start curling my toes in the opposite direction over the strap. And I'm going to lengthen my hind leg. My hind leg is pressing into the floor, improving the mobility of my toes. Obviously, you do what you can. And here you can stand up, roll a little deeper, press here a little stronger, whatever it is that that foot needs. But either way,
both of those feet get a deep, deep stretch on the bottom.
That feels wonderful. And then release. Just come out of that strap and put the strap on the side.
So if you're now coming back on this position, extended child's pose with your toes curled under, it should feel a lot better on the bottom of your feet.
Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Bring your feet flat down. Exhale, come into hero.
Sit up as tall as you can, tuck the chin under. Inhale. Exhale. Make a small turn. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, other side. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale. You may take the right foot, bring it up a little bit, and stretch the top of your foot. You may also lean back and stretch the top of your foot this way. Tuck the chin, but open your chest. So this is to stretch the top of your feet, not necessarily for the quads, but you still will feel the quads. If you want to intensify the stretch to the quadricep, as you're leaning back with your hands pointing in towards your feet, keep your tailbone down towards your feet. Lift at the chest. Keep your knees together. Actively pressing the heel, the feet into the floor. Open the chest. And if you have the flexibility here, you may come all the way down to your elbows for that deep stretch to the quads. You can see that I am not anywhere near there, but that depends on the time of the day. Other parts of the day I can do it easily. After a long run, I cannot do it. After cycling, I cannot do it either. Inhale with your right arm overhead. Exhale, switch. Inhale, left arm overhead. Exhale, lengthen. And return. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale. Exhale, all fours. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale. Exhale, lower yourself down onto your belly. Exhale, place your hands in front of you and place your forehead onto your hands. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your right heel towards your buttocks. Don't allow the hip to lift off in response. Do what you can, and here you may grab your foot for a deeper stretch, and then switch sides. Actively draw the heel towards your buttocks. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Draw both knees. Bend both knees with the heel coming towards your bottom. And then sway your legs side to side. Inhale. Exhale. Hook the feet together. Slide your knees out and apply a little bit of pressure as if you're trying to pull your feet apart. Inhale. Exhale. Other side. Pulling your feet apart from each other as they're hooked together. And then unhook and sway the legs side to side. Inhale. As you exhale, release your feet. They might be to the outside of your mat.
here, or you may just turn your head to the side and let your body rest here. Find a position that is good for you. Inhale. Exhale. Let the body fall into the floor. If at this point you feel more comfortable on your back, go ahead and do that. Find your rest, find your rhythm in your breath. Inhale as strong as you can and exhale everything out. At the bottom of that exhalation, let the body dictate to you how much air is coming in next. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, draw your hands by your side. Forehead resting on the floor. Draw your feet together closer. Inhale. As you exhale, come onto all fours. Inhale, extended child's pose. Exhale, all fours. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, neutralize the spine and curl your toes under. Walk your hands towards your knees. Place your body weight onto your legs. Inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. Straighten the legs out. Inhale, monkey. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. With this, you have completed this yoga session. I thank you so much for joining me. Please again leave me comments at the bottom to help me out and see what it is that was helpful in this yoga session and what you would rather see. Have a fantastic rest of the week, and I will see you next time. Again, my name is Stefanie. This is Moving for Wellness, recording out of the New Tampa Y. Have a great day.